YouTube, hello, Retro Reclaimer here. It's been a while. Pickups, and a bit of an update. Yeah, I've not really been active, have I? This probably the past year, really. But mainly due to wrestling. So anyone who sort of knows probably is aware that I started wrestling, and that's taken up the time that I would be spending playing and hunting retro games and the videos that come with it. Um, I do still watch videos on YouTube, so I do watch a lot of your videos. And when I say watch, I tend to listen more than watch. I put them on as I'm sort of traveling to and from work or anywhere else, and listen to what you guys are picking up. So, because obviously it's the way I do it, I tend not to comment, which I need to change. I've sort of identified I need to change that. I need to still keep that interaction going because it's nice to know what people think of, certain pickups or whatever. I know for me myself, if I do a video, what I want out of it really is comments and people suggesting things or sharing their experiences and whatever. So, and I know we're all sort of similar with that, so I'm definitely going to change that. What I feel like, yeah, I'm recording. So yeah, wrestling's obviously taking up a lot of my time. I'm really, really enjoying it, and at the same time, I've still got all this stuff. It has crossed my mind: do I get rid of it all and focus on the wrestling, reinvest some of this wealth, if you will, back into wrestling, new outfits and stuff like that? But I know if I got rid of this, I'd want to get it all again because I've been there before in the past. So yeah, I've decided against that. On top of that, I'm all out of space. I've got um, anything new that I pick up tends to just go in a bag now, and so it's not on display. Still looking to move and uh, have this vision of a bigger space, but for the time being, I can't really collect a great deal because I've got nowhere to put it. Having said that, it's still a hobby. It's still something I'm always drawn back to, and as such, I do still pick some stuff up. So over the past probably 4 or 5 months, maybe, this is what I've picked up. Still play a lot of current gen. I'm on the Xbox quite a lot, playing stuff on there. What have I been playing lately? Star Wars, Fallen Jedi. I've been playing some retro, so I've got through Resident Evil 1 and 2, and I started my way through another Resident Evil, which I'll show you. So I'm still playing games, and this is all still exists. It's just been backdoored a little bit, if that's the right word to use. So anyway, in terms of pickups, I've not been out charity shop hunting or anything like that. I think maybe once in the last few months, and if I grabbed anything, that would have been on the previous video. I've sort of fell out of touch with that because it's very rare that you come across, even 360 games and PS3 games are getting rare to come across in charity shops. It's 9 times out of 10 you walk in there and there's nothing. So yeah, I'm sort of not into it as much anymore. There's not as much reward, it seems, but then at the same time you've got to be in it to win it. So my neighbour said she had something and handed me over a bag of stuff, and in there was a PS2. So we got the fat model PS2. Needs a clean and bit of restoration, but it does work. I tested it, so that's brilliant. Always handy having spares. So we've got a PS2. I'm not sure the leads. Came with a couple of controllers, third-party ones. Again, just need a bit of a clean up, but I'm not massive on third-party controllers, as you probably know. It came with a memory card, which is great because the more games you get, the more storage you're going to need for save files. So always happy to get some memory cards. And then it came with a bunch of games, so let's show you what it came with. So come with the Getaway, which I already have, Crash of the Titans, Crash Bandicoot Wrath of Cortex, Tony Hawk's Underground 2, FIFA Street. I've not even checked to see if you can see these when I'm holding them up. FIFA 2004. I always remember this one where the season mode, rather than selling and buying players, you had to trade players. I'm pretty sure it's this one, which I remember that always put me off and I never wanted to play it. Need for Speed Underground, Stuntman, and Gran Turismo 3. And then some of the more interesting titles that came with that are going personally into the collection: Worms 4 Mayhem, Sonic Plus Collection. So it's got Sonic, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic 3D Flicky's Island, Sonic the Hedgehog Spinball, Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, and then it's got some Game Gear games as well, which is pretty interesting. And then we've got Formula 1 2005, Donald Duck's Quack Attack, and then Space Race. These sort of cartoony, well, this is obviously like a kart game, I'm presuming, yet. But these sort of cartoony platformers are sort of on the way out, aren't they? We don't get much of them being made these days. So it's good to grab some of those which I've never played. So yeah, really happy to get that. Again, a free gift. Very, very kind. That's, again, part of the beauty with this hobby, is a lot of people have stuff that they have no relatability with or whatever, and they're happy to get rid of it. Then over Christmas, I sort of made it known what I wanted for Christmas. Something that I've never really collected over the past 10 years. I managed to, again, I was gifted a few games and also a console, but I never really played or invested any time into it, and that is a GameCube. Yeah, I sold mine when I got rid of everything, sort of, must be about 6 years ago now. And yeah, I was sort of adamant that I wanted a purple one. We never had one when we was younger in the house, but my brother's mate used to have one and bring it over. I remember he'd bring it over and we'd stay up all night. We'd have all-nighters and we'd play Time Splitters 2, we'd play Mario Party, we'd play Super Smash Bros. I remember just thinking in terms of playing good quality multiplayer games, it was really good fun. So hoping to relive some of those experiences, and hoping that it'll be a good console to have in the house where I can play a lot of split screen multiplayer sort of titles that still live up well enough that people other than myself are interested to play. I got a couple of games with it, which were these two. And again, I sort of asked for these two games. So we got Luigi's Mansion. I always remember when it came out, and I was always interested, but because we never had a GameCube, I never played it. And up until Christmas, that's sort of the first time really I'd proper give it a go. I think I've got one of them on 3DS somewhere. And then Resident Evil Zero, which I've been playing through. So yeah, Resident Evil Zero is one that I've never really played. I always knew it existed as a prequel. Why could I not think of that? I always knew it existed as a prequel. Because I've recently played 1 and 2, I thought, right, I'm ready to go back and play this one. So that was definitely a title I wanted to play on the GameCube. And also I believe this was a time where Capcom had a deal with GameCube where they were going to release a number of games with them first. The controller I didn't show. I've cleaned it up, but it was in nice condition anyway. So again, that's another thing. I want some more controllers. I've had a look at a couple of CEXs that are local. but they're all battered and chewed up, and that's not what I want. I want a good, honest controller, so I'm happy to have that as well. Of course, I had to buy a memory card. This is the bigger model, 251. I believe there was a really small one, so I decided to invest in a more expensive one that's going to hold more memory. So yeah, we got a memory card, and then so we had Christmas, and then in January is my birthday. So for my birthday, my lovely wife managed to buy me a few games from CEX, and they were Super Smash Bros. Melee. Unfortunately, there's no manual with this, but I have ordered one off eBay, so I've got one for that now to make it complete. 007 Nightfire, this was another game I didn't mention which we used to play. I always remembered we used to play on a level, sort of split screen, just deathmatch or whatever it was. But there was a level where there's a cabin at the bottom of the hill, cabin at the top of the hill. It's snow, so a bit of a ski slope, and there was like a ski lift that sort of took you from one side to the other. And I remember we used to always try and hide in there and snipe each other and stuff. So it's going to be fun to give that a go. And also, I'm looking forward to playing some of the 007 games again. Just you know, that first-person shooter with the spy sort of gimmick towards it. WrestleMania 18. Always good going back playing wrestling games. I think the new, sort of the latest 2K games are very, very good. It seems that they've got the mojo back and started making good wrestling games again, but it's always good to go back here and you know, relive your childhood with, you know, The Rock, The Undertaker, Stone Cold. Of course, they're all accessible on the later ones, but yeah, it's always good fun to go back and play those, see who's on the roster. Sonic Heroes, this one's a bit damaged, sadly, and I do have this on the Xbox, but yeah, always good to have more than one copy. And then Tony Hawk's American Wasteland, again, another good. I think this was the one where it was no loading screens. Yeah, no loading. I remember the adverts, and I always remember, I don't know if it was Tony Hawk or someone on a skateboard, and they'd sort of crash into a wall, you know, it was like a invisible barrier that they'd crash into and stop, and then it'd say no loading and go into this game, which was sort of decent at the time because everything used to load. And then recently, last weekend, I've got a little list of 360 titles that I want to grab hold of. There's probably about 15 games that there's more than that I want, but 15 that I've put on my list of stuff that I want to try and pick up when I see them. Typically cheaper games as well, and I've just thought, when I come across them, every time I go CX, let's have a look. So I managed to find a few. I got Fallout 3, Broken Steel, and Point Lookout. So I don't have the Game of the Year edition, but I've got Fallout 3 and I've got the other expansion. So now I've got this expansion again, just trying to get the expansions that are on discs, just so obviously we know that the store is no more. And yeah, I do imagine one day I'll go back and play Fallout 3. It's probably my favourite out of all the Fallouts. I remember recently I played through Fallout 4 again, and again couldn't get to the end because I feel like it's too drawn out. The story's not quite interesting enough. Again, without spoiling it, I got to a certain point with the story where I discovered something, and I just thought, that's a bit uninteresting. Whereas I feel like this had a really good storyline. But that's just me, I'm story driven. Another one which wasn't on my list, but when I saw it I knew I had to get it, and that's Just Cause. I'll never forget one of the only times I've really played this game. It's a bit like GTA in a way, but I'll never forget jumping out of a plane, parachuting, then letting go of my parachute, flying back down to my plane, getting back in the pilot seat, and then carry on flying it again. Just insane. Just a good sandbox, do we say? Just good fun to play. Sadly, this one has no manual, and it's Saints Row. Again, I had a lot of fun with this. My mate had this game, and when I first played it, I really enjoyed how it was GTA, but with a different sort of lick of paint, if you will. The humour. I love the second one as well. But yeah, I sort of want to try and get all those if I can. And then probably one of the only Spider-Man games that's cheap enough to buy without spending all your pocket money is Spider-Man 3. Another game that I played when it first come out and really enjoyed. Always been a big fan of Spider-Man. I would love to own the others, particularly Shattered Dimensions, but I'm not really willing to pay that price for them. But from what I remember, this was good fun anyway, so I'm happy to have this and play it. And then Army of Two 40th Day, I believe there's 3 of these games. I enjoyed the first one, the good co-op shooters. You know, you can customise and stuff. I've never actually played this one, but obviously it's the second in the series, so one that I sort of wanted in the collection. And that's it. So yeah, nice to buy, you know, what, 5 games. Shame about the manual for Saints Row, but maybe I'll come across it. What I tend to do is just keep holding. After a certain while, I'll just look on eBay and grab a manual when it comes up. Or I'll buy another copy in CX and then just take that one back and trade it in. They're only cheap games, so I don't mind so much with the cheap ones. It's when you spend 40, 50 quid on a 360 game, you want the manual in the box. You don't want them paying more for a manual. So yeah, I don't know where I'm going to put them. My room tends to be a mess, and I keep saying I need to sort it out and get it clean because I'm put off by being in here because it's too cluttered. But again, I just don't have space for everything. I'm not willing to let go of anything, so I know it's hoarding right now. But again, I have this sort of presumption that I will have a bigger space and it'll pay off when that space comes. So yeah, probably won't be another pickups video for a while. I am going to make more of an effort to comment on videos. Like I said, I am watching or listening to videos. But yeah, I need to start leaving comments again and show that I'm still there interacting. And yeah, probably the next set of videos will be more wrestling stuff. I did recently do a wrestling video of my first ever appearance, so I'm going to put another one together with the next few matches and just give a bit of an explanation towards that. And then, yeah, hopefully there is more pickups to come. I want to grow that GameCube collection a bit. Again, there's only a handful of games that I'm overly interested in. I'm not interested in buying any of the really expensive stuff. So yeah, there's probably sort of 20-25 games that I'll get, and then I'll probably stop there. But yeah, it's good to have a new console and a new collection growing. Yeah, I need to get more controllers. That's sort of on my to-do list. But no, I appreciate you all for watching. And yeah, see you in the next video when that might be. But like I said, this sort of video is probably going to be a few months. We'll see. Bye-bye.